Hey, I'm Brian Carr, and welcome to another episode of Asylum TV. Today, we're going to give ourselves a few more power options electric-wise by installing this new dual battery kit from Genesis Offroad. Now, of course, it comes with its own dual battery tray, also holds the tip-em. It also comes with the top that's going to hold the batteries down, and it's got all our wiring. Everything comes pre-wired on it, so as we install it, we'll walk you through some of the functions on the wiring, the isolator, and the power boost. For this install, we also chose to go up to some Odyssey batteries. Now, when you do a kit like this, you want to make sure that you put in two brand new batteries. You don't want to put in one brand new battery with your old battery because it's going to drain them both. So we've got two brand new Odyssey batteries getting ready to go in our tray. First thing we got to do though, start disconnecting everything on the original tray and get everything out of the Jeep. So let's get started. Alright, it's a real easy kit to install even in your own driveway or garage. You can get it done in about 2 to 3 hours with some basic hand tools. You just need to take out some bolts, a few screws, make sure that you undo all the clamp fittings on any of your hoses when you're taking out the intakes. So whether you got a stock intake or cold air like we've got here, you just need to make sure those hose clamps are loose so you can take those off. It's easy to go. Then we got to disconnect our battery here. Alright, you've got the one small screw that is coming out here through the tip-em. You want to make sure that you're real careful when you pull this thing off, because all your wiring's underneath here. Plus, you're going to need to snap it back down on the new tray here. Alright, once you've got everything disconnected, you've taken the top off here and disconnected all your wiring, find some way to hold it aside, and then you just got to kind of finesse it a little to get the whole tray out. Alright, so if you still have the factory intake box, what you're going to need to do is cut right along this little line right here so that you can keep these 3 mounting holes for the factory intake box. If you've got a custom cold air intake and a custom mount already in there, you're not going to have to worry about it. But these are the 3 pieces that you're really going to need to keep if you're still running stock. And then we take our Genesis tray and we just mount it back in the same spot using the factory hardware. Alright, now just as a precautionary measure, we're going to cut the heads off of these bolts so they don't rub up against the batteries. Of course, the tedious part is making sure that you get all the wiring plugged in correctly and stuffing it all back underneath here so that you can seat the tip-em down right back on its posts. One of the great things about this kit is because of the way it's directed, it can really fit with any of the engines that you'll find in one of the JK Wranglers, from the old 3.8 to the new Pentastar all the way up to the big 6.4 Hemi. Even some of the engines, especially if you're working with the 3.8, make sure you do order the extension clip for the evap solenoid, because you will need to make that a little bit longer, and it's available with the kit. Now remember, like I said earlier, make sure you leave these plastic caps on your batteries until you're ready to connect everything up. You don't want any random hits coming on there and shorting out all your wiring. So another great feature about this kit from Genesis are these bus bars. you take each of these individual little screws out and you plug each accessory into a different spot. So your accessories are always going to be isolated from your crank battery. Alright, so we've got all the screws tightened down on our bus bars. So now all of our accessories are isolated on these bus bars. So it's going to allow the smart isolator here to do its job. Now what that does is it's different from some other ones where you actually have to hit a button to isolate the different batteries, whether you want them to charge up or not. This one is actually going to be functioning on both batteries. So as you run in the whole Jeep, both batteries are getting charged. Once you shut the Jeep off and you start running accessories, once that drain on the crank battery gets to about 12.7 volts, it's going to isolate that away and start using the other battery for the accessories so that you still have enough volts to crank up the engine. Once the engine gets going again, it's going to isolate that crank battery, get it charged back up to about 13.2 volts, and then it's going to go back to functioning normally and charging both batteries again. Now, one of the last great features on this one is the power start button right here. Say that crank battery does go all the way down and die, you can pop out of the Jeep, push this little button, and the accessory battery is going to help jump start that crank battery so that you can start the engine back up and get everything charging again. Kind of a cool little feature if you ask me. So that's our Genesis dual battery kit all installed. Now the top, it all comes pre-wired, so you don't have to mess around with trying to hook up all the different wires. Connect it to the battery and you're done. And all the connections were done really nicely, really well taken care of. They're all soldered, they're not crimped. So you're getting a good quality connection there. Of course, best thing, it's made right here in America, right here in Mississippi. So you know you're getting a good American-made product when you order this kit. Now, if you want to see some more details on the installation, you can look at the write-up on jeepasylum.com, and if you have any questions, post them up there. As always, I'm Brian Carr. Thanks for watching Asylum TV.